On the edge of a small riverside village, life was simple but never easy. People struggled day by day to earn a living, yet kindness still flowed through the hearts of many. Among them was a young girl named Xiaoyu. She was just an ordinary poor girl, humble, hardworking, and always helping others quietly without expecting anything in return. Her life was filled with struggles after losing her parents at a young age. She grew up with her frail grandmother. Every day, she worked multiple jobs just to buy enough food and medicine. That morning, the sun was shining brightly, but something felt strange in the air. Xiaoyu had just finished delivering vegetables to a local shop and was walking back along the riverbank. Suddenly, her sharp ears caught desperate cries for help. She froze for a second and scanned the water. Her heart jumped. A small boy was struggling in the middle of the river, his tiny hands splashing helplessly as the current pulled him deeper. Without thinking twice, Xiaoyu threw her basket aside and rushed towards the water. She knew she wasn't a strong swimmer, but there was no time for fear. Every second counted. People nearby had gathered, but no one dared to jump in. The current was dangerous. But Xiaoyu didn't hesitate. Fighting against the strong waves, swallowing water, coughing and gasping, she finally reached the boy with all her strength. She grabbed him and pushed him towards the shallow side. Her arms burned, her legs weakened, but her will was unshaken. Bit by bit, she managed to pull the boy to safety. People rushed forward to help lift the boy out. But before anyone could turn to thank the brave girl, Xiaoyu quietly slipped away, soaking wet, exhausted, and unnoticed, just like she had always lived quietly without expecting recognition. What she didn't know was that someone had seen everything. In a luxurious black car parked not too far away, a pair of deep, sharp eyes followed her every move. Sitting inside was Lu Ziyan, the young CEO of a powerful company. A man known for his cold personality, sharp decisions, and a heart that rarely showed emotions. He had brought his little nephew to the countryside for some fresh air, but things took an unexpected turn. It was his nephew, the boy who had fallen into the river. Ziyan's heart raced. Something rare for him. He wasn't the type to be easily shaken, but today was different. Watching that girl risk her life without hesitation touched something deep inside him, something he hadn't felt for years. But before he could get out of the car, she disappeared. There was something else. When Xiaoyu was struggling in the water, the wind had brushed her wet hair aside, revealing a small, unique birthmark behind her right ear, a faint, butterfly-shaped mark, something that stirred an old, forgotten memory in Ziyan's mind. Back in the city, Ziyan couldn't stop thinking about her. Her face, her eyes filled with determination, and most of all, that birthmark. It was not just familiar, it was something he had been searching for, unknowingly, for years. As a child, Ziyan had once been saved from an accident by a little girl with the same butterfly birthmark. That moment had stayed buried in his heart all these years. Could it really be her? He muttered to himself, fingers tapping on the steering wheel. His powerful mind, which usually solved million-dollar problems within minutes, was now completely distracted by the thought of this mysterious girl. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu went back to her small, broken house. Her grandmother noticed her wet clothes and worried face. "What happened, child?" she asked softly. "Nothing, Grandma. I just slipped near the river," Xiaoyu lied with a small smile. Not wanting her only family to worry, she didn't mention the boy or the fact that she had nearly drowned herself. For her, helping others wasn't something to brag about, it was just something people should do. But fate had other plans. The next day, a luxury car rolled into the narrow streets of the village. People gathered, whispering and wondering what such an expensive car was doing in a place like this. The door opened, and Lu Ziyan stepped out. His sharp suit, polished shoes, and cold, commanding presence instantly caught everyone's attention, but he ignored the curious eyes and walked straight to the riverside, to the place where everything happened. He asked around, "Did anyone see a girl about this tall with long hair, wearing simple clothes? She saved a drowning boy yesterday," but everyone shook their heads. No one had really noticed her. The panic of the moment had been too overwhelming. Frustrated, but not ready to give up, Ziyan ordered his assistant, "Check every house in this village, find her." Back at home, Xiaoyu had no idea that the person she had saved was the nephew of the most powerful CEO in the city. She had returned to her routine, feeding her grandmother, sweeping the yard, and preparing simple meals. Her only wish was for her grandma to stay healthy and for life to get just a little easier. But the storm was coming. That evening, as Xiaoyu went out to collect firewood, she noticed a tall figure standing at the entrance of the village. Scanning every face that passed by, her heart skipped a beat. Something about him felt different. His presence was too strong, too intimidating for someone from the countryside. And then, their eyes met. Ziyan's sharp gaze softened the moment he saw her. His eyes traced the side of her face, focusing, searching, and then, there it was. The wind blew gently, moving her hair just enough to reveal the tiny butterfly birthmark behind her ear. It was his heart, which had always been cold and distant, suddenly felt like it was being hit by a wave of emotions: surprise, relief, curiosity, and something else he hadn't felt in a long time, a strange warmth. But just as he took a step forward, Xiaoyu quickly turned away. Why was this strange man staring at her like that? Who was he? And why did her heart suddenly start pounding so hard? Little did she know, this one encounter was about to change her entire life. Xiaoyu quickened her steps, pretending not to notice the man whose gaze seemed to follow her every move. Her heart thumped wildly in her chest. She didn't understand why, but something about his eyes felt familiar yet dangerous. She held the bundle of firewood tighter and lowered her head, trying to slip away quietly, just like she always did in life. But Lu Ziyan wasn't someone who gave up easily, especially not now. He took long strides, following her. Wait, his deep voice echoed behind her. Xiaoyu flinched but didn't stop. She had always stayed away from trouble, and this man, everything about him screamed trouble. His expensive suit, his sharp gaze, his commanding tone, he clearly didn't belong in a place like this. Stop, I just want to talk. Ziyan's voice softened a little. But Xiaoyu had already disappeared into a narrow alley between two old houses. He frowned. She's fast and cautious. His assistant jogged up behind him, catching his breath. Boss, are you sure it's her? Ziyan didn't answer immediately. His mind was still playing that moment over and over, that small glimpse of the butterfly-shaped birthmark behind her ear. It wasn't just coincidence. His instincts, the same instincts that made him a top CEO, were screaming at him. It was her. Meanwhile, inside her tiny broken house, Xiaoyu shut the door and leaned against it, panting softly. Her grandmother noticed her pale face. What's wrong, Xiaoyu? She forced a smile. Nothing, Grandma, just too tired. But deep inside, her mind was spinning. Who was that man? Why did he look at her like he knew her? And more importantly, what did he want? What Xiaoyu didn't know was that her life wasn't as simple as she believed. There were secrets, old secrets buried in the past, secrets even she didn't know about herself. Back in the city, Ziyan started digging. He ordered his team to look into every detail about the girl. Check the village records, find out who she is, her family, her background, everything. A few hours later, his assistant walked in with a folder. Boss, her name is Xiaoyu. She lives with her grandmother, parents deceased, father disappeared years ago. Mother passed away when Xiaoyu was just 5. Ziyan's brows furrowed. Disappeared, yes, strangely, her father was once an employee at the Lu Corporation. Your father's company. He suddenly vanished. No one knows where he went. A strange uneasiness filled Ziyan's chest. Something didn't feel right. The more he learned about Xiaoyu, the more questions appeared. Dig deeper, something is missing, he ordered coldly. As the investigation continued, a shocking truth slowly surfaced. Years ago, there had been a major scandal in the Lu family. Ziyan's father was involved in a business betrayal, and an innocent man was framed for it. That man was none other than Xiaoyu's father. Ziyan's hands clenched into fists. His own family, his own father had destroyed this girl's family. Her father was falsely accused, disappeared, and was never seen again. Her mother, unable to bear the pain, died young, leaving Xiaoyu all alone. No wonder fate had brought her back into his life. Guilt started to grow in his heart, something he wasn't used to feeling. He realized that this wasn't just about recognizing the girl who saved his nephew. This was about righting a wrong, about fixing something that should have been fixed long ago. But there was another problem. Not everyone wanted the truth to come out. Back at the Lu Corporation, news of Ziyan's sudden interest in a poor village girl started spreading. His stepmother, Madame Lu, caught wind of it and immediately sensed danger. Years ago, she had played a major role in that scandal, helping frame Xiaoyu's father so her own son could take over part of the company shares. If Ziyan uncovered the full truth, everything would collapse. Their wealth, their power, their reputation, all of it was at risk. Madame Lu quickly held a secret meeting with her trusted lawyer. Get rid of that girl quietly. She must disappear before Ziyan learns everything. At the same time, Ziyan had made his decision. The next morning, he personally drove back to the village. This time, he wasn't just searching, he was determined to bring her back with him. Xiaoyu, however, had no idea of the storm coming her way. She only knew that her peaceful, poor life was suddenly being disturbed by the presence of a man she didn't even know. That morning, as she was helping her grandmother hang clothes, a loud knock came at the door. She opened it, and there he was again, Lu Ziyan. He stood there, tall and imposing, but his eyes were gentler this time. I'm sorry for disturbing you. I just want to talk. Xiaoyu bit her lip, unsure whether to close the door or listen. I'm not here to cause trouble. I want to thank you properly for saving my nephew. And I want to help you, Zion continued. She shook her head immediately. I don't need help. Please just leave, Zion sighed. You don't understand, this isn't just about yesterday. This is about something much bigger, about your father, about the truth. Xiaoyu froze. What do you mean? How do you know about my father? Before Zion could answer, a loud crashing sound came from behind the house. Suddenly, a group of strange men barged in, wearing black clothes, clearly not from the village. They didn't speak, they just rushed towards Xiaoyu. Zion's face darkened. Get behind me, he shouted, pulling her close. A fight broke out. Zion, though a businessman, had been trained in self-defense for years, he quickly took down two men, but more kept coming. His assistant arrived just in time, helping push the attackers back. Xiaoyu stood there, frozen with fear. Her simple world, her quiet life, was being ripped apart right in front of her eyes. But why? Why were these people after her? As the last of the men ran away, Zion grabbed Xiaoyu's hand. You're not safe here anymore, come with me. I promise, I'll explain everything. Tears welled in Xiaoyu's eyes. But my grandma, don't worry. We'll take her with us, you're not alone anymore. Her heart trembled. She didn't know if she could trust him. But something inside whispered that she didn't have a choice. As Zion led her toward the car, Xiaoyu looked back at her broken little house. Not knowing that this would be the last time she would see it the same way, her life was about to change forever. But what she didn't know was the deeper truth was far darker than she ever imagined. And waiting in the shadows were secrets that could destroy everything, including the growing bond between her and the man who had unknowingly stepped into her fate. The car sped away from the village, leaving behind everything Xiaoyu had ever known. She sat quietly in the back seat, holding her grandmother's hand tightly, her mind a mess of confusion, fear, and uncertainty. Beside her, Lu Ziyan glanced at her through the rearview mirror, his usual calm replaced by worry. He knew that the danger wasn't over yet, not until the truth came out completely. As they reached the city, Xiaoyu couldn't believe her eyes. The tall buildings, the endless lights. It was a world completely different from her small, broken house. Ziyan brought her and her grandmother straight to his private mansion. A place so grand that it almost felt unreal. Servants rushed to welcome them. But Ziyan waved them away. Treat them like family, he ordered. Xiaoyu couldn't help but feel out of place. Her simple cotton clothes, her muddy shoes, everything about her screamed that she didn't belong here. But Ziyan's presence somehow made her feel a little safer, though her heart was still full of questions. That evening, after making sure her grandmother was resting, Ziyan finally sat Xiaoyu down in his study. His expression was serious, but his voice was softer than she had ever heard. Xiaoyu, there's something you need to know. Something about your family and mine. He opened a folder and pushed it toward her as she slowly flipped through the papers. Her hands started trembling. Photos, documents, all showing how her father had been framed by Lu Ziyan's stepmother and some corrupt board members years ago. Her father had been an honest employee of the Lu Corporation when he discovered illegal dealings. They had set him up, accused him of theft, and forced him to disappear. Her mother, broken by the betrayal, had passed away soon after. Tears filled Xiaoyu's eyes. All this time, I thought my father had abandoned us. I thought he left us. Ziyan sighed, guilt heavy in his voice. No, he didn't abandon you. He was trying to protect you, and he paid the price for it. Xiaoyu clenched the papers, her body shaking. Where is he now? Ziyan hesitated, then said softly. That is the hardest part. After years of hiding, your father was eventually found by the same people who framed him. He didn't survive. The words hit her like a thunderbolt. Her father was gone, truly gone, her eyes blurred with tears. And for a moment, her world felt like it was crashing down again. But then Ziyan reached out, gently holding her hand. Xiaoyu, I know nothing can fix the past, but I promise you, from now on, no one will hurt you. And those who did this will pay. The next morning, Ziyan held an emergency board meeting at the Lu Corporation. The company directors, including Madame Lu, arrived, unaware of what was about to happen as everyone took their seats. Ziyan walked in, holding the folder of evidence. His sharp gaze swept across the room. Today, we are going to talk about justice, he said coldly. Before anyone could react, large screens lit up, displaying the proof, documents, bank transfers, recordings of conversations from years ago. Everything was laid bare. The betrayal, the corruption, the framing of an innocent man. Xiaoyu's father, Madame Lu's face turned pale instantly. She stood up, trembling. Ziyan, you can't do this. You can't destroy your own family. Ziyan interrupted, his voice icy. Family? You destroyed a family years ago without blinking an eye. Today, justice is long overdue. With the board watching silently, law enforcement officers entered the room. Madame Lu and the other corrupt directors were arrested on the spot. The room that once held power, Greed and deception now fell silent, broken by the sound of handcuffs. Clicking, Xian turned to look at Xiaoyu, who stood quietly at the back, watching everything. Their eyes met, hers filled with emotion, his with relief. After the storm finally settled, Xian walked over to her. "It's over," he said softly, but Xiaoyu shook her head, her eyes still glistening. "No, it's not over. My father didn't get to see this day. He never got to clear his name while he was alive." Xian nodded. "Then let's make sure the world knows his story. Let's make sure no one forgets." True to his word, Xian held a public press conference. He stood on stage, not as the powerful CEO, but as a man correcting a mistake. He publicly cleared Xiaoyu's father's name, revealed the truth to the world, and restored honor to the family that had been broken for years. The news spread like wildfire. Headlines filled with words like *CEO exposes family scandal*, *innocent man's name cleared after years*, and *truth finally wins over greed*. As for Xiaoyu, life slowly started changing. No longer the poor girl looked down upon. She was now known as the brave girl who not only saved a boy but unknowingly saved herself from a lifetime of being hidden in the shadows. But even more surprising was what happened between her and Xian. What started as gratitude, then responsibility, slowly grew into something neither of them had expected: love. Quiet, gentle, but powerful. One evening as they stood by the riverside, the same kind of place where their paths had crossed, Xian took her hand. "Xiaoyu," he said softly, "you walked into my life like a storm, and now I can't imagine it without you. Stay with me, not because you owe me anything, but because I've fallen in love with you." Tears welled up in Xiaoyu's eyes, but this time they were tears of happiness. She smiled, her heart full. "I never thought someone like me would ever be loved like this." Xian pulled her close. "It was never about where you came from, it's about who you are. And you are the strongest person I've ever met." As the sun set behind them, their hands remained tightly linked to hearts that fate had once separated, now brought together by destiny, courage, and love. And just like that, the poor girl, who once saved a drowning boy quietly, found herself rescued by love.